Hello, hello, my beautiful friends. We're doing another episode of upcoming books that sound cool. Recently announced books or books that I just recently heard about. The cover reveals, I'm going to share the synopsis with you. It's just things that I think might sound good, and we're going to figure out together if they do actually sound good. The Blooming by Eric Ferencik. I thought that this was a different author, and then I realized this is the author of some thrillers that I've read, so that makes me intrigued that she's coming out with a horror. Let's find out what it says. In order to save her child, herself, and the world as we know it, a single mother must battle a sentient fungal entity that has come to possess the body and mind of her 6-year-old daughter. It's a chilling and unforgettable new novel. Should we read that? I think so. The cover is beautiful. Another horror. It's tagged as Horror and Demons. This is The Godfrey Home for Demonic Children. It's by Alexis Henderson. One of my faves. A young exorcist faces demons both real and figuratively in this searing horror novel. At 8 years old, Juliet was violently possessed by a demon who had already claimed the lives of her parents. When it proved unexpellable, she was sent to the Gothic halls of the Godfrey Home for demonically afflicted children, where she grew up under the mentorship and care of exorcist Luther Godfrey and formed an uneasy truce with the demon inside of her. Oh my god. 20 years after her possession, a steely-eyed Juliet travels to the country as an exorcist herself, removing powerful and often violent demons from their human hosts, and occasionally referring the rare children like her who are infected with particularly dangerous demons to the Godfrey home. Oh, then Luther Godfrey dies following the unexplained disappearance of Seth, one of his troubled young charges. Juliet returns home for the first time in many years to attend his funeral, and there's gonna be chaotic things happening because she's the house's new matron. What else from authors that I've read from before? Wish Spun by India Holton. I remember talking about this somewhere. I don't think it was one of these videos, but I'm really intrigued by India Holton doing a cozier romance as opposed to the kind of satirical fantasy historical romances she's done. A librarian and a mage from rival kingdoms must work together to translate a magical book and lift its curse in this cozy cottagecore fantasy. Okay, so it is still fantasy. Welcome to Inglewood, a quiet village tucked into idyllic countryside. Inglewood's librarian, Melid, is a shy woman who secretly writes magical wishes that she slips into each book that she borrows. These are simple charms that bless the villagers with happiness, health, and prosperity. Once she dreamed of studying magic at university, but she's grown comfortable in her placid life with her pet dragon and her library's surly cat for company. But when a stranger leaves a magical grimoire in the library, Melid cannot resist trying a spell from it. Just as she is doing so, Nian, a mage from the royal court of a rival kingdom, walks in and catches her. The grimoire was used to curse his king, and Nian must urgently find a way to lift that curse, or else the king will die and the kingdom's delicate truce will be in jeopardy. Yeah, I'm gonna read that. It's so cutesy. Nisha Sharma is doing a romantic thriller. I need more romantic thrillers in my life, so hopefully this sounds good. The Lotus Inn, a small town romantic suspense featuring 3 sisters, a dilapidated family inn, and the will that changes everything. Dr. Aji Chawla is still reeling after her divorce and hospital layoff when she receives the news that her estranged father has passed away. As the dutiful eldest sister, she returns to Misty Pines, a quiet town in the Pocono Mountains. She can attend the funeral and support her mother. There she encounters the last person her father was supposed to meet the night There's a missing word. I just remembered last time I did this video, somebody commented something about making it into a drinking game, and I said every time there's a missing word, I should turn it into a drinking game. I should have to take a shot, because I think there's something when they're copying over the text from somewhere else into Goodreads, like someone is doing it via code, and if there's ever a semicolon, it deletes the word that comes before it. And people, I don't understand why they're not actually more thoroughly creating these synopses. So it says there she encounters the last person her father was supposed to meet the night her ex-husband's older brother Rowan. So we're missing the word died and then a semicolon, I think is what's missing there. And now I have to take a shot. I don't own a shot glass is the problem, but I have a red Solo cup. I feel like that fits the vibe. Our options are Crown Royal and Maker's Mark. This is the same bottle that I used for, I think it was in 2020 or 2021, when I was doing the drunk or high videos. Is that a shot? Oh, that's strong. Help! Cheers. What is wrong with me? Rob and Liam are gonna come home from the grocery store and be like, what happened? She encounters the last person who was supposed to meet, She encounters the last person her father was supposed to meet, Rowan. Before she can interrogate Rowan about his presence, Aji learns that her father left a will which requires all 3 Chawla sisters to live in the Lotus Inn for 6 months. I love inheritance stories like that. But Misty Pines wants them gone. After a series of escalating incidents with the local townspeople and temple, Aji begins to suspect that her mother is keeping secrets while her father was blackmailed before his death. The only person who can help is Rowan. Did I do strange maps? I can't remember, but this is probably my favorite cover of all of the strange pictures, strange, I don't know, places, whatever those are called. I've only read one of them, but I want to read this one. It says, follow the signs, find the secret, a demonic map hidden for years, a confession from beyond the grave, a train smeared in blood, an ancient evil that can kill, and one man who will do anything to connect the pieces of an infernal puzzle. Each map in this book contains a clue to a secret so monstrous that some will do anything to keep it buried. This is by Uketsu, translated by Jim Ryan. I think I'm going to pick this one up. We've got The Girl from Ipanema. This is Mia Sosa. I've had a mixed kind of experience with Mia Sosa recently. This seems like maybe more on the side of fiction than romance, but there is romance. It says, all Bianca Thompson wants is to make documentaries, real life caught on film, but photocopying movie scripts is the closest she's come to the director's seat. When she learns she's a finalist for a prestigious filmmaking grant, she has one chance to impress the judges. Her pitch? A behind-the-scenes documentary about Brazil's first all-female samba school, the president and founder of which is Bianca's aunt. The catch? Bianca doesn't speak a lick of Portuguese. She's never set foot in Brazil, and she's never even met her aunt. When Bianca finds a letter from her aunt to her mother, highlighting just how strained their relationship was before Bianca's mother passed, Bianca is caught between her family and the truth, or finally making a name for herself. The choice could cost Bianca her integrity or open up a whole world. I don't know if I want to read that. Next, we've got a new romance from Christina Forrest, The Unrequited Love Department. This says, it's a whimsical workplace romance with a light speculative twist about a hopeful romantic in the unrequited love department of Cupid and Associates, who's forced to team up with a cynical coworker after she releases secret love letters into the world. I love that idea. That sounds so cute. Emily Wilde's History of Dark Fairy, I feel like I talked about last time, but I don't think it had a cover because I don't remember really talking about it, and I think it's beautiful. Maybe I did talk about it because I can't think of anything I said, and I can't think of anything to say now. It's my favorite of the series since the first book, because I didn't really like the second or third design-wise. This is so pretty. It's told from her perspective, Wendell, the love interest, and her niece Ariadne, who hopes to follow in her footsteps. Very excited to read that. This one I saw pop up from Monica Kim. There's no cover for it yet, but there's a whole little blurb. It's called What Hungers in the Dark, and it's tagged as vampires and lesbian and horror. It says, a young woman searching for her missing brother and falling into the clutches of an enigmatic and dangerous family. That and a young nobleman facing off against his powerful, pitiless father, semicolon, told across 2 contrasting timelines from glittering Manhattan and gritty Los Angeles to the hidden opulence of Seoul, alternating with the hushed, suffocating world of 19th century Korea. Yeah. Let's read that. It says it's coming out in June. Ooh, another series thing. The Singing Hills cycle. We got book number 8, the announcement. It's called The Judgment of Needles. I don't like this cover as much as most of the other series, but that's okay. A celebration of the life and reign of the notorious Empress of Salt and Fortune has brought the cleric Chi and Almost Brilliant to the Palace of Gleaming Light, where Chi becomes intrigued with the forgotten stories of the little wives of the women's quarter. Amid a forest of priceless robes and seamsters' chatter in the Hall of Needles, they learn of an attempt by one such wife to assassinate the Empress during the tumultuous early days of her rule. Exciting! This one also doesn't have a cover. The Lovebirds by Catherine Center. This is a rom-com author. Addie Mitchell has her dream job, or is it a nightmare, working as an assistant to her grade school frenemy, who's now one of Texas's biggest social media influencers. January isn't quite as obnoxious as she was years ago, but she's a very demanding boss, and her manager/mother could easily make life a living hell. Still, it pays the bills, and Addie has already chased enough impractical dreams. When January receives an email from mutual childhood friend Denton, she tells Addie to ignore and delete it. Denton, middle school heartthrob, is now working in Antarctica as a penguinologist, of course, and there's nothing he can do for January, so she doesn't want to give him the time of day. But Addie writes back, beginning a correspondence where she poses as January. Oh no, that's stressful. And Denton writes to her about the loneliness and isolation of the Arctic. Plus, he has really fascinating details about birds. Slowly, Denton and Addie become more and more attracted to each other through the letters, but it's not her. Oh my god, he thinks he's talking to someone else. Denton leaves the Arctic and arrives in Texas expecting to take up with January where they left off. Addie's in a pickle of her own making. Can a love built on a lie actually last? This sounds so stressful, but I do want to read it. How about this one? A new book from Travis Baldry called Four Bastards and a Baby. Welcome to the Deep Down, an impossible subterranean labyrinth where everything is deadly and the world is ever changing. The only thing that stays the same is no one ever escapes. Until now. The sly half-devil Brindle has received a cryptic message from the Deep Down. Deliver a mysterious egg to the top floor and your escape is assured. To carry the strange egg safely through the infinite floors of monsters and murderers, Brindle must recruit the worst companions possible. A pacifist blacksmith, a genius tinker with a deadly secret, and two enigmatic sisters. That is the word of the moment, enigmatic. One of whom hates his guts, the other trapped inside a sword. That would all be trouble enough, but everything gets infinitely worse when the egg unexpectedly hatches, revealing the most horrifying creature imaginable, a human baby! She might just be the answer to all their prayers or the most deadly threat the Deep Down has ever seen. Either way, she's cute as all hell. That sounds fun. Why is it 560 pages? Hearts Grove by Allison Saft. I think this one's adult. Meanwhile, they've previously written young adult only, I think, in this queer folkloric romance set in the same world as A Dark and Drowning Tide. I don't know if that one was adult or young adult. Did I read that one? I can't even remember. A world-weary botanist must untangle 3 mysteries before his time runs out. A plagued grove, a dying dryad prince, and the curse slowly eating his body alive. Oh no. Deathsworn by Meg Smitherman. Jonquil wields the power of life. Her sworn enemy, Edmund, wields the power of death. On the battlefield, they clash in a deadly duel meant to decide the fate of their warring cities, until their magics entwine and create a volatile being so powerful it drags them both deep into death itself. Forced into a reluctant truth, Jonquil and Edmund must navigate the treacherous underworld and confront the horrifying consequences of their own creation. That sounds fun. Down Where Monsters Dwell by Hilda Knostatier. This says it's a dark historical fairy tale steeped in Icelandic folklore about the powerful bond between mothers and daughters and how quickly fear can lead to violence. Interesting. In the isolated fjords of Iceland, a young woman named Hala rescues a baby girl abandoned by her parents who fears that she's a changeling. Hala doesn't believe in such nonsense and decides to take her home. And she's right. The child is not a changeling, but she's not exactly human either. As she grows up, terrifying rumors of a violent woman with a monstrous face begin to spread through the forests of their farmsteads. Human or not, Hala knows her daughter isn't a monster. She must do whatever she can to protect her because she knows scared people can do terrible things. Intriguing. Usman T. Malik is an author that I've read short stories from. I don't think a full-length novel. This one's called A Dark and Narrow House. The cover is fine. What say you? When a mysterious and deadly plague sweeps through the world, a group of friends retreats to a luxurious countryside mansion in the Pakistani-Indian border, unaware that they've locked themselves in with an ancient secret and primordial power that will slowly tear them apart. I want to read that. As each member of the group fractures under the strain of the Haveli's maddening spell, they must decide whether to face the truth of their own demons or be lost within the glittering labyrinth forever. Oh, I'll read that. Take Back the Night is interesting. Heather Gudenkopf I've read from before, and she is collaborating with 2 other mystery writers, Kara Rhoda and Kimberly Bell, and they're coming out with Take Back the Night. 3 friends, 1 unfinished story, a killer back from the depths to write his own ending. Ooh, Ooh, 15 years ago, a group of college girls known as the Dead Air Five exposed a campus predator on live radio, ending his reign of terror one dark, unforgettable night. When Jake vanishes into the lake's black water, the world called it justice. The girls called it freedom. They were wrong. Now Meg, Leah, and Ren are settled into their ordinary lives they worked hard to build, but their quiet normalcy is shattered when strange things begin happening. Things only Jake would know. As chilling patterns begin to emerge, the three friends realize that the darkness they buried may have returned against all logic and possibly the very limits of science. Threatening messages and impossible events compel the women to reunite, only to discover the truth more dangerous than they imagined. Some monsters don't drown, they wait. The fuck? Let's read that. Olivia Blake has a book called Euphoria. I probably shouldn't read it because I don't think this author's for me. It's $20.75. Oh my god. And time once again for the annual Senecan Games, a fight to the death tournament in which the sinful are contestants. As nominated online by their neighbors, mutuals, and IRL friends. But who has time to stream murder games in this economy? Okay. Just as the Senecan begins, Wolfie, an archival researcher of millennial culture at Oxford, discovers historical memes may have been erased from his carefully curated files, as his forebears would highly sus. As his forebears would highly sus? Oh no, that's missing a word. As his forebears would say, highly sus. Because that's what millennials would say, and he's an archivist of millennials. This is trying to be funny. I don't know if her humor is for me, but you know what's for me? Another shot. Bottoms up. This seemingly individual IT issue leads Wolfie to the sinister discovery of outwardly unrelated secrets, including a survivalist cult's mysterious massacre, a pop star's cancellation, and election to the first Senecan Games, and a lonely young woman named Dolores who has managed to avoid the watchful eye of big tech until now. Was that the longest run-on sentence, or were we missing something? She just may be the only hope for saving humanity from the dark web of exploitation that we unwittingly opted into. Moving back and forth in time from the makeshift swamps of London to the abandoned ruins of the Central California coast, Euphoria is an eccentric, character-driven novel that explores techno-feudalism, the dopamine hit of clicking buy, and what happens if we actually get the future we deserve. Okay, I will not be reading that, but I feel like that's going to appeal to a lot of people. Oh, it's not a semicolon, it's a colon. It's when colons are used, because I just went and looked on the Macmillan website, and it does have a colon. As his forebears would say, highly sus. Next, Kristen L. Berry, who we are reading We Don't Talk About Carol for the Literally Dead Book Club this month, has an upcoming one called Better Than You Know Yourself. It says, Gia and Amani's 13-year friendship has endured it all, from divorce and the early trials of motherhood to career upheavals and family betrayals. So their decision to start their own small business, Hart and Harlow, is rooted in their profound trust in one another. That is, until they find themselves on opposing sides of a life-changing business offer. To make matters worse, the only person with the power to tip the scales, their new cutthroat investor, Ravi Patel, is having an affair with Amani. Oh, girl. And Gia doesn't know until he's found in Amani's home, dead on the kitchen counter. News of his death and 8-month-long affair with Amani spreads rapidly, soon becoming a major public scandal. Everything Amani and Gia have been working towards, not just as individuals or co-founders, but as each other's chosen family, threatens to implode. And when investigators suspect foul play in Ravi's death, Amani becomes the primary suspect, of course. As they both face mounting pressure, and as more people in the circle fall victim to mysterious deaths, the two must decide whether to stand together or let the chaos tear them apart. That sounds like a stressful, interesting time. Oh my god, this one, Julia Armfield has an upcoming book, you guys. The cover is so pretty. It's called Up to the Light. And I'm about to find out what it's about. Oh my god. June 1994. The storied Mount Varda has been untouched by mountaineers for decades. We have a colon, so we know I don't have to drink on this one. I can relax. The last expedition ended in tragedy. Oh my god, mountaineering. I love mountaineering. When Liam and Peddle, best friends and celebrated climbers, are invited to join a team organized by the famous Jim Callahan to pioneer a new route, they're initially skeptical. Working class Liam and butch lesbian Peddle exist on the outside. What? Peddle exist on the outside of mountaineers' privilege. No what? Okay, sorry. Do we drink when there's also an additional word? because the sentence should be working class Liam and butch lesbian Petal exist on the outside of mountaineering's privilege, and they have no interest in Jim's media circus. But the word no is in there. That doesn't belong. Let's do half a shot. Why is this happening to me? Oh! But the call of the mountain is too strong, and soon Liam and Petal are in the French Alps preparing for ascent. Joining them on the expedition is Bill Franklin, Liam's oldest rival, whose sweet nature begins to break down Liam's defenses, while Petal's heart is turned. Do you hear a ringing? Petal's heart is turned by a climber's widow living in the town. As the expedition looms closer, the climbers begin to experience sleepless nights, bad dreams, and hallucinations. And as they make their way up the mountain, the world gives way to something stranger. With oxygen scarce and altitude dizzying, how can Liam and Petal be sure of what is real? And will they ever know what happened to those they left behind on the peak? Oh my God. Now, if anybody from Flatiron is watching, go back and edit that synopsis, please. Or just a Goodreads librarian, I suppose. Hello. I should not have taken a break to charge my battery. I'm feeling something. Okay, next up, we've got Shaylee Thompson. I read and selected her book for Literally Dead Book Club this year, and now we have a 2027 release called While You Were Screaming. There's two different covers. I think we could argue which one is better, but for me, it is the one with the drink. Fake dating turns deadly at a sinister couple's retreat. Alert, 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 alert. While reading the synopsis, I realized this is a semi-sequel or a companion, at least in some way connected to the first book. So in case knowing anything about any of those characters' fates would spoil that for you, then skip this one. Filmmaker Laurie Hamilton. Laurie? We're reading about Laurie again? Oh my gosh, it's a sequel? Okay. Filmmaker Laurie Hamilton knows a red flag when she sees one, and the Kindred Souls couples retreat sets off every alarm. On a hunch there's a story to investigate, Laurie heads undercover with Connor Kincaid, a dangerously handsome podcaster and the almost boyfriend she swore she'd never see again. Posing as the perfect match, they infiltrate the Catskills getaway to discover what Kindred Souls has been hiding. Once inside, there's no leaving. Surrounded by lovers desperate to prove they found their twin flame, Laurie, with Connor's help, quickly realizes the retreat isn't about finding love, it's about deciding who deserves it. As couples engage in increasingly dangerous tests of their devotion, Laurie must decide what she's willing to risk and whether the man she's secretly falling for is the key to making it out alive. I can't wait to read that. We have a sequel to whatever this one was called, that I really liked this year by Tassandra Odette. This is called The Words That Weave the Dark. Let's find out. Oh, this might spoil things too if you haven't read the first book. I don't really remember much that happened. Now that Inanna knows the truth, I don't even remember the truth. She grapples with where she belongs in the world, among her crew, and with the Shadowbane who stole her heart. Her friends may have accepted her, but can she accept herself? The monsters that lurk beneath her skin are deadly. Oh, yeah, are deadly. And it's only a matter of time before she hurts someone she loves again. Her only solace in the mission Dominic gives lesson. Her only solace is the mission Dominic gives learn. Her only solace is the mission Dominic gives. You're missing the word her. Her only solace is the mission Dominic gives her. Learn to harness her shadows and kill the sinless king. But first, Inanna needs a mentor in lunar magic. With the aid of allies in the heart of a sacred city, Inanna ventures to uncover what she's capable of. I poured too much. I'm drinking half of this. Huh? Stalked by enemies who lurk around every corner, she and her friends must navigate treacherous new landscapes, from a treehouse brothel to the sin-drenched palace of the prince. I think I will read the sequel, but I think I have to reread the first book because I have a bad memory. Roseanne A. Brown has Divine Rage. It says it's the first in a sweeping romantic fantasy duology in which a young woman raised to fend off eternal winter by marrying a god must decide if her future lies as a sacrifice for the greater good or among the realm of fiend-wielding warlocks she was raised to destroy. I'm gonna read that. Oh, I missed Second Nature. This is one of the most anticipated ones. Ling Ling Huang. I should have talked about it at the beginning. Oh my gosh. I haven't read the synopsis, but I love the cover and I love this author. So this is going to be a 5-star for me, obviously. It says, Bodhi is a shy, sweet, curious boy who grows up in the Vale, cared for by his many mothers and devoted to his female god. He spends his days playing in the forest and fulfilling his various responsibilities, which include educating the younger children on the history of their world. Increasingly, he begins to love his closest friend, a boy named Aster, in a way he doesn't understand but knows is infeasible in the Vale. When Bodhi is told that he will undergo fulfillment, a mysterious act which signals his conversion to adulthood, he grows apprehensive. Soon, everything in his world shifts and a darker truth begins to emerge. To save himself and those he loves most, he may have to do the one thing that is truly forbidden. ... Bro, what? What is truly forbidden? Was it just like leave, I guess? I don't know. Okay, next up, it's Read Your Color. So I did this video, Reading Like a Purple Reader, where there's this website where you do this quiz and you kind of what kind of reader you are. And this is the spin-off like of that. He's writing a whole novel with all the same kind of information, but with some extra stuff, I guess. And also that quiz is going to be changing and isn't going to be, I think in the future, just like reading a synopsis and saying if it works for you, but it's like your experience with books themselves. So yeah, this is the cover. I think it's a little bit boring, but it's kind of exactly what I predicted. So that's by Stephen Reese and it's coming out by the end of the year. A great Christmas present for you and your kin. I think now we're moving on to authors I haven't read from before, so I have no faith that these will be good. Villain Edit by Rosie Dannon. A struggling reality TV producer tries to turn a reluctant vampire into the first supernatural lead of a famous dating show. What? My Husband's Family by Christina Kamen. A juicy, high-stakes thriller about a dysfunctional family vying for money and power aboard a luxury yacht in the Mediterranean until a body is found. Creatures of Habit. This seems kind of crazy, kind of fun looking. Let's find out. Jennifer Yeh. A woman learns to see her future in a new light with the help of an amphibious man who crawls through her window the day of her ex's engagement party. Sure. City People by London Sperry. A woman desperate to hold on to her Brooklyn brownstone can't ignore her chemistry with the one man standing in her way. Teddy Cooper, third-generation New Yorker, has breathed city air since the day she was born. Her life is perfectly syncopated with the beautiful, chaotic tempo of Brooklyn. From the moment she steps at the door of her brownstone she shares with her grandmother to the moment she falls asleep with taxi horns blaring into the frenetic night. So when Graham announces that she's selling the brownstone and moving to Florida, the rhythm of Teddy's life descends into cacophony. How could Graham not see that leaving NYC would be a betrayal of their very identities? If Graham needed a reminder of who she is, Teddy will do anything to show her, including coordinating a reunion show of the Broadway musical that made Graham famous before she gave up life in the spotlight. And to lay the pressure on thick, Teddy even gives Graham's former co-star Hal, gets her former co-star Hal on board. I thought this was a romance. Who's she gonna fall in love with? The show, oh, is it between Graham and Hal? The show is barely off the ground before Teddy comes head to head with Hal's talent agent, Reed, who refuses, I can't read anymore, to let Hal partake. What a son of a bitch. Reed is charming. Oh, just kidding. Smart-mouthed and absolutely infuriating, but Teddy knows a thing or two about digging her heels in. As Teddy squares off against Reed over email in the theater and even through a heated game of tennis, I haven't breathed in a while. She's prompted to wonder if her dogged stubbornness is holding her back. Who would she be if she wasn't determined to control Graham's next move to be a New Yorker at any cost? Is it possible that her identity is larger than the city she's built her life around? And most importantly of all, could her new life have room in it for someone else? That was the longest synopsis I've ever read. Romantasyland. Oh my gosh, love this. Love this cover. Enemies to lovers. Everything in Eve Lockwood's life is gray and not in a fun, morally ambiguous kind of way. No matter how much soggy takeout she orders or how many Friends reruns she binges, the only place she can truly escape is between the pages of her beloved romantasy novels. So when an advertisement for a romantasy lover's retreat crosses her path, Eve jumps at the chance to play out her favorite bookish fantasies with like-minded readers. What could go wrong? Quite a lot, as it turns out, namely that while doing a retreat activity in the middle of the woods, she somehow trips and falls through a portal into a real-life fantasy world and straight into the arms of a ridiculously attractive, grumpy woodland fae prince. Just her luck, honestly. At first, Eve is convinced it's all part of the retreat until she survives a monster attack, unlocks forgotten magic that apparently makes her the chosen one, and is shipped off on a quest to break an ancient curse all before lunchtime. Cute, cute, cute. The Girlfriend Experience, XXX, says a ghostwriter for an adult-only content site finds herself falling for the one person she can't have, a subscriber. Brooke is the most popular plus-size creator on With Benefits, a patronage site for adults-only content. Her exclusive service includes birthday calls, love letters, blah, 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 blah. They're not really talking to Brooke. They're talking to Rosie. Rosie is her ghostwriter, but she falls in love with one of the clients. So it's another like fake identity, gonna find out in order to fall in love situation. That sounds, again, stressful. I love the cover. The Bureau of Second Chances. This looks fun. Can she rewrite the past to save their future? Marianne knows nothing about her past. She gave up her memories to become an agent for the highly secretive Bureau of Second Chances. Seamlessly, she slips through time, putting wrongs to rights in the hope of giving others a future. Walter is hollowed by the tragic loss of his wife. With each catastrophic choice made in the fog of grief, his solitude becomes a slow certainty. When the map of Walter's life crosses Marianne's desk, she finds herself captivated, determined to reawaken the hope that has long since left him. That's me, not the synopsis. She arrives into Walter's existence, ready to rearrange his fate. But as she falls even deeper into Walter's story, Marianne starts to question the truth of her own. Can she rewrite Walter's future without confronting her own buried past? I mean, like, the pitch is interesting, but it doesn't sound that interesting right now. This one, Merciful Carnage. This is a romantasy by Sarah Hashem. A deathless girl's single-minded pursuit of the cure for a mysterious plague entangles her in a web of intrigue as an immortal ruler becomes set on uncovering the truth of her existence. How to Seduce a Dark Lord. A charismatic young necromancer decides the safest path to power is seducing a Dark Lord instead of becoming one in this witty and endearing, macabre, queer paranormal rom-com. Okay, fun. The Indecipherables by Anne Hellman. A pair of identical twins reconnect on a road trip where they realize they're being stalked by themselves in this unsettling imaginative tribute to Hitchcock's Psycho and Vertigo. Ava and Bryn realize that another pair of twins seemingly identical to them in names and appearances are stalking them. The cat and mouse game between the four identical women quickly devolves into something sinister and supernatural. That sounds fun! Alistair Fall and the Restless Dead by Marion Gordon. A cantankerous sorcerer and a thief with a heart of gold joined forces to solve a murder after colliding at the crime scene in this charming new fantasy detective series. Some of you might be into that. Time Struck, that sounds like it's for me, by Megan Daniels. A speculative mystery with romantic twist. One woman must solve her own murder 5 years in the future, only to find herself unexpectedly falling in love with her future self's husband. Isn't that still her husband? In this future, Andy was recently murdered, and someone pushed her here so she could find out who and why. This one I've had people send to me, I think, because there's a rabbit on the cover. Cracks by Christy Park Kulski. Horror and myth collide when a Korean American teenager's grief summons something. No, there's a word missing. A water ghost that has been feeding on her family's sorrow for decades. Teenage grief summons something terrifying, something horrific, something supernatural. A water ghost has been feeding on her family's sorrow for decades. Let's see. Summon something ancient is the word that's missing, according to simonschuster.com. I guess we need to finish this. It's like a shot and a half. Fuck. You know that game people play on TikTok where it's like, they have 5 shots lined up and like 4 of them are water, 1 of them is vodka, and you have to like not make a face for the vodka one? Couldn't be me. Next up we got She's All the Rage, terrifying cover by Lee Radford. Iona Dark has always felt like a ghost in her own life. She's overlooked at work, can't find love, and is haunted by the sense that she was meant for something more, until she discovers Le Phase, a mysterious Soho atelier where she finds a stunning suit that fits her like a glove. She stands a little taller, speaks a little sharper, wants more than the life she's accepted. Ilona begins to lose track of time. She's been waking up with unexplained bruises, me, and pulling threads from her skin. No, not me. She started to wonder whether the suit is actually helping her become her best self or if it wants something more. Oh my god, is she like becoming one with it? This is an intriguing one. Really in a horror mood today. White Trash Witchcraft is next. Fantasy queer horror by Rowan Brighton Brown. Southern inheritances are always dark, whether it's penchant for pills, a blood-soaked family farm, or an ancient magic. Sierra wants to break the generational curses, but when an otherworldly illness threatens her family, she must choose which monster to slay and which to become. It's Only a Game by Sam Rebelline showed up in my feed too. An emotionally charged and propulsive puzzle box novel where a recently split couple must solve a haunted escape room together or die trying. A year after their bitter breakup, this couple is once again together, an invitation of a lifetime to play a legendary 72-hour survival experience with a huge cash prize. It says solve a series of elaborate puzzles. I think it says the game or the catch or the something. Solve a series of elaborate puzzles inside the remote and reputedly haunted Clate Hill Lodge. Only one other contestant has ever successfully escaped, and Julian and Millie are desperate to make history. But as the weekend begins, the line between performance and paranormal quickly blurs. The puzzles are impossible, the ghosts feel undeniably real, and the hotel seems to have a mind of... Okay, I checked the publisher website. The word missing was challenge. HarperCollins is trying to kill me. Welcome home, Miriam. Left with no memory of her disappearance or the events preceding it, Miriam returns to her rural childhood home. This is by Sanchita Mitra, with her beloved mother and father, or at least a couple claiming to be. Once she arrives at their isolated farmhouse, vivid hallucinations start to fill the void left by her total amnesia. Miriam loses hours sleepwalking from one horror to another. Meanwhile, everyone seems eager to welcome Miriam home. From her parents to the neighbors, Miriam, and townspeople who stand on the property line just watching. They leave flowers and extravagant gifts on the doorstep. They pry into her family's affairs, into her rehabilitation. They pretend not to see Miriam deteriorate in front of them. If this is a haunting, then exhumation will require Miriam to remember who she was before. And once she knocks enough dirt loose, her past self might crawl out of the grave to expose the carnivorous truths underneath the house's floorboards. I don't have anything to say. That sounds crazy. Is that it? Are we done? Oh, The First Girl in Hell by Henry Hoke. Oh, I know this author. A blacklisted actress exiled to the Nevada desert plots revenge on those who wronged her and hatches a plan to rescue the women she loves as old Hollywood is consumed by moral panic. I don't need to read too much more about that one because that doesn't sound like it's for me. But for those of you who loved Open Throat, you should know that that's coming. Members Only by Emma Rosenblum. This is a fast-paced satirical thriller, perfect, set at an exclusive country club where a sudden death on the day of an important wedding unravels the carefully held secrets of his status-obsessed members. Golf, wedding, satirical thriller. Perfect for me. Harrington Country Club is a carefully manicured haven for Greenwich's wealthy residents. Middle-aged blondes, Icy Honey and Golden respectively, and their khaki-clad husbands sunbathe at the Olympic-sized pool, traverse the massive golf course, and play heated tournaments on the much-fought-over newly installed pickleball courts. And yet below that shiny veneer bubbles a much messier reality. Ted Flynn, the president of the club and father-in-law of the bride-to-be, hasn't been entirely truthful about his financial situation. Despite his mother's wishes, Jessie Summit doesn't actually want to marry her Ken doll fiance, Patrick Flynn. And the chef, Mike Lightbody, who was inexplicably poached from a trendy Brooklyn restaurant to cook at the country club in Connecticut, has more than his fair share to lose. When a body hits the ground on the morning of Jessie and Patrick's wedding, everyone is a suspect. Funny, propulsive, and quietly shocking. It's about privilege and the lengths to which people will go to protect it. I can't read anymore. Hopefully that's everything. If I missed something that you think that I should have been talking about today, you let me know and I'll probably do another one of these videos sans the alcohol. And let me know what books you're planning on reading that I just told you about. Okay, bye!